Hi everyone, today I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a corner to corner moss stitch square. So we're going to start by making a slip knot, inserting our hook, pulling it tight, and then we're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're then going to place a single crochet into that third chain, so the one that is closest to the slip knot. So you will then find that you have a single crochet that you have just worked and a chain 2 space. So we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now we're going to skip over that single crochet that starts the row, and we're going to work into this chain 2 space just here. And we're going to place a single crochet, chain 1 and a single crochet. And then I'm just going to pull that a bit tighter. Now it doesn't look like much yet, but I promise it will look better as it gets bigger. We're going to chain 2. And again, we're going to skip over that first single crochet and we're going to work into the chain 1 space. So we're going to single crochet, chain 1. Then we've got our chain 2 space at the end and we're going to single crochet, chain 1 and single crochet. Now we're going to work in a similar fashion for all of the rows during this increasing phase. So we're making a square, which means that for the first half of the square will be increasing, so all of our rows will be getting longer, at which point you'll have a big diagonal triangle. Then you will switch to decreasing rows to work the opposite way and end up with that last corner of your square. So every row is going to start with a chain 2. You're going to turn. You're going to skip that first single crochet and work into the chain 1 space. For every chain 1 space, you're going to single crochet and chain 1. You find the next chain 1 space, and I do find these are much easier to feel than to see, especially if you're working with a solid color. Again, single crochet, chain 1. And then after that last single crochet, you've got your chain 2 space. And whenever you reach a chain 2 space, you're going to single crochet, chain 1 and single crochet. Now, if you are finding your spaces difficult to find, as I said, I do find it easier to do them by feel than by sight. But, for example, you've just done your chain 2 here. You could very easily pop a stitch marker around the lot, skip that first single crochet and work into that chain 1 space. And now when you come back the other way, you're going to be able to find that chain 2 space at the end of the row very easily. Equally, if you find the chain 1 space is difficult to find, you can stick a stitch marker around those as well. Skip your single crochet, work into your chain 1 space. Again, you can put a stitch marker around your chain 1. Skip a single crochet, work into that chain 1 space, stick another stitch marker if you need to, and then into that last chain 2 space at the end, you do your single crochet, chain 1, where again you can stick a stitch marker if it helps, and single crochet. So now when you go back the other way, you have handily marked every chain space that you need to work into. Yes, it does mean if you're working a fairly large blanket, for example, that you're going to need an awful lot of stitch markers, but I can bet that you'll find that as you get further along, you'll get better and better at finding them by touch or by sight, and you won't need to use these anymore. It just takes a little bit of practice. So I shall let you carry on with your increasing phase until your square is as big as you want it to be before we start the decrease. So join me there. Okay, so I'm ready to start decreasing because I'm only making a small swatch. As you can see, I've kept going, and this is now half the size that I would like my square. So the other half of the square will obviously lead you to that final corner. So how to proceed with the decrease. So chain 2 like you normally would and turn. Then to start with, we're going to be working as normal. So you're going to be doing your single crochet, chain 1, and you're going to do that across the row until you get to your final chain 1 space. Okay, so you can now see that I've got a chain 1 space here and a chain 2 space here. Now into this chain 1 space, we're going to single crochet as normal, but we're not going to add the chain. And then into that chain 2 space, we're going to single crochet and then skip the chain 1 and the second single crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 and turn. Now we've got 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets starting our row, so we're going to skip straight to that first chain 1 space, at which point we'll proceed as normal. So single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 across, again until you come to that final chain 1 space. So here we've got a chain 1 space and we've got a chain 2 space at the end of the row, and we're going to do the same again. So we're just going to pop a single crochet into both of them. We're then going to keep repeating this until our square meets in the corner. So I will meet you right when we're coming to the very end. So I'm at the very end. So I've got my chain 2 here, the 2 single crochets from that previous row. So I'm going to chain 2, turn, single crochet straight into that chain 2 space, chain 1, and then I would cut my yarn and pull it out. And there you go, the corner to corner moss stitch square.